You're listening to Airtime of the Geek.
Good afternoon, Ignition Radio listeners, and welcome to Airtime of the Geek. It's Monday and it's 1 p.m. GMT if you're listening live via our website or via TuneIn. If you're catching up on YouTube, then please like and subscribe to this video and our channel. Comments, queries, suggestions, you can email me. It's paulab@ignitionradio.co.uk. You can also call the studio. It's 01642 329 620. Alternatively, you can visit my website. It's airtimeofthegeek.xyz. Now that spooky October has ended, we are moving on. And what does November have to offer us? November is going to be the month of crime. So kicking off Crime Month for this week's Top 10, we are counting down my Top 10 buddy cop films. And of course, we're starting at number 10 because it's more fun for me to go in reverse order. And it's number 10, Stop or My Mum Will Shoot. Sergeant Joseph Andrew Bominski, played by Sylvester Stallone, is a tough Los Angeles detective leading an antisocial existence. His relationship with his on-again, off-again girlfriend and precinct supervisor, Lieutenant Gwen Harper, is on the rocks. Thus, he is dismayed when his meddling, mind-numbingly annoying mother, Tutti, played by Estelle Getty from The Golden Girls, plays him a surprise visit from Newark. From the second she sets foot off the plane, she's driving him around the bend, showing embarrassing pictures of him and telling embarrassing stories about him to everyone on the plane and at the police station, insisting he eat a 3-course meal for breakfast, tucking him in and singing him a lullaby at night, and generally treating him although he's 7 years old. When she clears the barrel of his gun with a pipe cleaner and thus ruins it, she heads to the hood to buy him a new one. Failing to get one legitimately from a gun store, she buys one illegally. In the process, she witnesses a homicide. She gives false information to the police about the homicide and instead letting Joe take the case on by himself so he can get a promotion, to his chagrin. She insists on accompanying him as he investigates, to his even greater chagrin. Historically, it's gone down as a bad movie, but as a buddy cop film, it's actually quite entertaining. Number 9 is Men in Black. Men in Black is a 1997 American science fiction action comedy directed by Barry Sonnenfeld. An agent of a secret organisation called the MIB, codename K, played by Tommy Lee Jones, seeks out a new recruit to monitor alien activity on Earth. The MIB pass over Navy SEALs and Green Berets, instead deciding on a quick-thinking and fast-talking NYPD detective, Detective James Edwards, played by Will Smith. Without knowing what he was recruited for, James, now codenamed Jay, is told that the MIB agency is beyond all government jurisdiction and that they are responsible for the alien immigrants, and we do mean alien, who have taken up residence on Earth. Part of the MIB's effective cover-up is using advanced alien technology to impersonate actual government officials, and especially the use of a device called the Neuralizer, which is able to give laser-guided amnesia to anyone not wearing special MIB-issued tinted glasses. The films are only moderately based on the original comics, mostly borrowing the concept and the wardrobe of the agents, with a smart sense of humour and the deadpan delivery of Tommy Lee Jones as the See-It-All K, and the much-lauded performance of Will Smith as Jay. The first Men in Black movie was one of the most popular films of 1997. Some publicity was garnered on advertising posters from the fact that they were literally Mr. Smith and Mr. Jones. Will Smith also released a tie-in music video called Men in Black. The film spawned 2 sequels, the creatively titled Men in Black 2 and Men in Black 3, released 10 years apart, and an animated series, as well as a theme park ride. A reboot film of the series has been discussed and is in development, and a crossover with 21 Jump Street entitled MIB 23 is also in the works and will follow the latter series' footsteps in parodying film tropes. In this case, it's a shared universe concept first introduced with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. With Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill set to reprise their 21 Jump Street roles, no word has been as to whether Smith or Jones will do the same for theirs. Number 8 is Turner and Hooch. A 1989 comedy film directed by Roger Spottiswoode, starring Tom Hanks and a dog. Scott Turner, played by Hanks, is an obsessively neat police detective. He acquires Hooch, a large, slobbery dog de Bordeaux, after the murder of the dog's master, Amos Reed, a local junkyard owner who was a friend of Turner's. Turner is bored with little police work in the fictional town of Cypress Beach, California, and is set to transfer to a better job in Sacramento, while fellow detective David Sutton is slated to be his replacement. Turner pleads with the police chief, Howard Hyde, to let him take on Amos's murder case, believing that Hooch is the only witness he has. Turner brings him home. The energetic dog promptly destroys Turner's house and car and turns his life upside down in the process. On a positive note, however, Hooch also instigates a romance between Turner and the new town veterinarian Emily Carson, played by the brilliant Mayor Wingingham. Number 7 is The Other Guys. The Other Guys focuses on two New York City police detectives, Alan Gamble and Terry Hoyts, played by Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg. They have been office pencil pushers for years, while the station's two top cops, Highsmith and Danson, played by Samuel L. Jackson and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, they garner praise from not only the NYPD but from the entire city for their cowboy taken-no-prisoners antics. An unfortunate event forces the department to bring the two new cops to the forefront to deal with corporate embezzlement scheme. Our two mismatched desk jockeys finally get a chance to prove their mettle and show that they can save the day, all without getting each other killed or driving the other crazy. Number 6 is Die Hard with a Vengeance. Die Hard with a Vengeance was made in 1995, and it's the third in the popular Die Hard franchise, which teamed Bruce Willis with John McTiernan, the director from the first film. After being suspended for alcoholism, John McClane is put back on duty when a bomb destroys a department store in New York City, and a man named Simon claims responsibility. Simon demands that McClane wear a sandwich board with racist remarks on and walks into the middle of Harlem in order to prevent further attacks. McClane does so and is barely saved by the intervention of a local business owner, Zeus Carver, played by Samuel L. Jackson. Together, the duo are forced to take part in a series of malicious tasks by Simon, who threatens to set off several bombs if they aren't completed in time. While the pair is solving riddles, they realise it's a distraction from the real threat. Simon, played by Jeremy Irons, is planning to rob the Federal Reserve Bank, and he has a much closer connection to McClane than the cop realises. Vengeance was adapted from a script called Simon Says, which was originally intended to be the third instalment of the Lethal Weapon series, before it was reworked to include McClane and Zeus. Comments, queries, suggestions, you can email me. It's paulab@ignitionradio.co.uk. You can also call the studio. It's 01642 329 620, or you can check out my website. It's airtimeofthegeek.xyz. Continuing with my top 10 buddy cop films, number 5 is White Chicks. Okay, full disclosure, I am utterly ashamed that I love this movie. It is most certainly a guilty pleasure film, as I'm just completely guilty about how much this film makes me laugh. That being said, I still love it, hence its inclusion on this list. Marcus and Kevin Copeland, played by Marlon and Sean Wayans respectively, are brothers and FBI agents. After botching an undercover operation, they are saddled with the task of babysitting socialites Brittany and Tiffany Wilson, who are the targets of a kidnapping scheme. After a car accident leaves the girls with a few minor scratches that they consider disfiguring facial wounds, they refuse to go to their planned destination in the Hamptons, where a major FBI operation is covertly being set up to protect the girls and oust the kidnapper. Not wanting to lose their jobs, Marcus and Kevin decide their only option is to go undercover as the Wilson sisters. Hilarity ensues. Number 4 is Hot Fuzz. Hot Fuzz is a 2007 British police comedy, a deconstructive parody of and homage to the American buddy cop movie tropes, set in a sleepy town in England with dark secrets. Sergeant Nicholas Angel, played by Simon Pegg, is a top London cop who single-handedly keeps crime down. He is, in the words of his former girlfriend Janine, an uncredited and heavily disguised Kate Blanchett, incapable of switching it off. His police officer state is perpetual. His superior thinks he's doing too good a job, making the rest of the Met look bad, so they promote him and send him on his way to the sleepy town of Sandford, Gloucestershire. Sandford is the winner of the Best Village in Britain award for several years running, a village renowned for having no crime but a lot of accidents. Being set in the West Country means that all the typical stereotypes of the region are present, such as thick Somerset accents, farmer folk, tweed willies, and some good old wars. Nick doesn't fit in at all. His duties are extremely banal. He immediately clashes with the laid-back cops there and is saddled with Danny Butterman, played by Nick Frost, a rather chubby young police officer who desperately wants to be a cowboy cop like in the movies, as in Bad Boys 2 and Point Break to be precise. Then a series of grisly incidents occur, leading Angel to suspect foul play. Written by Edgar Wright, who also directed, and starring Simon Pegg, who co-wrote and co-starred Nick Frost, who plays Danny. The comedy action thriller references plenty of tropes and ends up using them in the final act. It's also filled with a ton of "oh yeah," even its creators indulged in writing /fic on Twitter, as originally the character of Danny Butterman was meant to be also a love interest for Simon Pegg's character of Sergeant Angel. However, they wrote out the love interest and gave Danny all of her lines without changing much of the dialogue at all. It's the second part of the Three Cornettos trilogy, the first being Shaun of the Dead, the third being The World's End. Entering the top three, number 3 is 21 Jump Street. When I first watched 21 Jump Street, it was a complete surprise how delightful I found it. The 2012 film adaptation of the late 80s series stars Morton Schmidt, played by Jonah Hill, and Greg Jenko, played by Channing Tatum, two screw-up rookie cops who get reassigned to an undercover program where Justin Bieber and Miley Cyrus-looking mothers are sent into high schools. It's an admitted attempt to avoid any creativity by digging up old programs and rehashing them and hoping that people won't notice. The undercover program, that is. Schmidt and Jenko's assignment is to find the makers of a new synthetic drug at a local high school before it spreads to other schools. Schmidt, who is never popular at his own school, receives the cool kid fake profile and gets into his role. Jenko, who was the popular kid at school but a failure at everything else, gets the nerdy kid profile and chafes under not understanding what is cool anymore. When it comes to the actual film's rehashed premise, people did notice, including the writers and directors, who acknowledged the absurdity of the situations and play it for worthwhile laughs. On top of its own premise, the film pokes fun at the action movie genre and any high school movie where people only hang out in the same easily identifiable cliques, i.e. all of them. A sequel was released, 22 Jump Street, in which the duo go undercover as college students. The film is a complete satire and highly entertaining. If you watch it thinking, I don't know if I'm going to like this or not, I'd say just go with it. It really pokes fun at itself and it's very tongue-in-cheek. Number 2 is Alien Nation. I love Alien Nation, everything about it, and I'm severely annoyed that much of it is completely unavailable to purchase through legal means. Alien Nation is a 1988 buddy cop movie with a sitcom twist. The minority partner is a space alien, part of a ship of newcomers who ended up on Earth when a slave ship they were being transported on crash-landed. After Detective Matthew Sykes' partner is killed in a shootout, he is partnered with San Francisco, who he insists on calling George, the first newcomer detective. While investigating the death of Sykes' partner, they uncover a dangerous newcomer drug. The film was adapted into a 1989 TV series, also named Alien Nation, which lasted for 1 season and 5 TV movies. As of 2015, a planned reboot of the film has been announced, but few details are yet known. What I'm hoping, though, was that this will prompt a release of the series on DVD, because it's not been available pretty much ever. A couple of the TV movies have been on and off the catalogue, but here's hoping. So my number 1 choice for my top 10 buddy cop films is The Heat. The Heat is a Paul Feig movie, and that man is a genius. Sarah Ashbourne, an FBI agent, is extremely ambitious and has her eye on a promotion, but she doesn't get along with her co-workers. She is sent to Boston to uncover the identity of an elusive drug lord, Mr. Larkin, by tracking down his proxy, Rogers, and is told that she'll have a good shot at the promotion if she finds Larkin. When she arrives in Boston, she learns that Larkin has been eliminating his competition and taking over their operations. She learns that Rohash is a Boston PD custody and goes to see him to ask him what he knows about Larkin, but is warned that the cop who arrested Rogers, Shannon Mullins, is very territorial and is not exactly sociable. When the two meet, they don't get along. When Mullins learns why Ashburn is in Boston, she decides to find Larkin herself. Ashburn is told by her boss to work with Mullins, but won't be easy because Ashburn does things by the book, while Mullins does things her way. The brilliance of the movie is not the twist that the characters are played by women, but that the characters are actually treated as humans with complexities and not just objects to be rescued or as love interests. To put it, as one reviewer said, it's just like a buddy cop film, but with women, and this sort of shows the current hypocrisy that's still perpetuated within Hollywood, that women are not given equal roles. I mean, pretty much all of these movies that have been on the list could have had a female in the role. However, the only other one that did was Stop or My Mum Will Shoot. I mean, one of them was a dog. And it's not that there aren't other buddy cop films in existence with women in the roles. It's just they're not as good. The Heat is brilliant. If you haven't seen The Heat, you need to see The Heat and then watch every other movie that Melissa McCarthy is in because she is brilliant. That was my top 10. If you're catching up on YouTube, then please like and subscribe to this video and our channel. Comments, queries, suggestions, you can email me. It's paulab@ignitionradio.co.uk. You can call the studio. It's 01642 329 620. Or visit my website. It's airtimeofthegeek.xyz. The month of crime will continue next week. We've got great shows coming up in the week. Alex and James are going to be in on Thursday with Off the Cuff. Of course, Canel will be in on Friday with James and Jacob. We've got all of our regular music shows, The Grind on Tuesday, Colin's Country Show on Friday, which will also be a radio-a-thon. 40 hours live he's going to attempt to do. Will he do it? Will he not? Here we will see. That's it for everything from me this week. I will speak to you next week, listeners. Have a good afternoon.
For your listening pleasure,